Hello, everybody. This is Peter B. And I would like to discuss with you the lost decade in baseball card collecting, the 1920s. Now, a few months ago, John at 3D80's Kid contacted me and wanted to know if I wanted to be on a panel, a YouTube panel, to discuss 1920 baseball cards. And though I was honored and would have loved to done it, I really don't know much about the 20s. I only had a couple, and it just seems to be a forgotten decade in baseball collecting. He did have the show, and there were people on. I know John Mangini was one of them, but even the show, it seemed that even they weren't really 1920 card collectors. So from that point on, I went and got a couple of more 1920 cards. So now I have a little bit more than none. And I'm looking at one, and I'm going to be purchasing that. It's going to come later. I'll show you that one. But I got a handful of them, and I think I will show them to you. So, the first one is this card that the wind keeps blowing over. Is a 1919 to 1921 W514 Heine Grow. And the problem with the 20s is that they did a lot of strip cards back then. These were long panels of cards. You probably bought them for a penny. I'm not sure where. I've read arcades, I've read stores, but they came in panels, long thin panels, and they would be cut. And of course, kids with scissors back in the early 1920s didn't cut straight lines same as kids with scissors in the 2020s. So, this one here, Honeyglow, third base, Cincinnati Reds, and strip cards are blank back. They were just on a piece of cardboard and you cut them. Now a lot of them have very cartoonish characters of the players, which is another reason why people don't really like to collect the 1920s, although some of them don't. Like, for instance, this one looks like Heine Grow, and I would collect something like this. So W514 Heine Grow, and I'll bring him back out in a minute. And another W514 Raleigh Ziedler, name spelt wrong, but it's Raleigh Ziedler, third base, Chicago Cubs. And once again, strip cards are blank back. So these are from 1919 to 1921. And I have a 1920. This is a W516-1-1 Ed Hooper from the Boston Americans, right fielder. You can see the rough cut of somebody back in 1920. Cut this out. Once again, the image does look like Hooper, and the blank back. Now the 5116-1-1 looks like this. They have the name on the bottom and the image in the background, and then there's a W516-2-1, and that looks like Hank Gowdy. Try to get him in focus. And if you notice the copyright, it's backwards. Whereas you look at Hooper, the copyright is correct. The Gowdy card isn't really noticeable that it is a reversed image, except for the copyright. There are other players where they're seen throwing with the wrong hand, like I believe Ty Cobb's in this set. The normal card has them right-handed, and the reverse image has them left-handed. And it's a few cards like that. They're just reversed image. And that's what makes it the type 1-1 versus the type 2-1. So that's from 1920. Then I got this 1921 exhibit card, Heine Grow. And you can see it's 1921. And I'm going to bring this Heine Grow back. So as you see, the W514 strip cards do pretty much have the player's image. Obviously, it was drawn from this exhibit card's photo onto the strip card. So this is 1921. Heine Grow exhibit card. Now 1922. American Caramel. Now these weren't strip cards. These were issued in caramel candies. And you see by the staining on this one, it does have the caramel staining. A very intricate border on these cards. Ken Williams, outfield, St. Louis Americans. And the back of it is a checklist for the team the player is. So this is a checklist for all the St. Louis Browns on the St. Louis Browns Ken Williams card. So that's a 1922 E120 American Caramel. And here is another one. Dave Bancroft. He played shortstop for the New York Nationals. And once again, 1922 American Caramel, E120. And so the checklist on this is for the New York Giants. So 1922. Also 1922 is Nielsen's Chocolate Bill Doak Type 2. And Bill Doak is a pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals. And once again, very intricate borders. And there is a Type 1, Type 2, and it has to do with the back. This one just has a bunch of text like in paragraphs. That's a Type 2. Type 1 has bigger font in the Nielsen Chocolate. More of an ad than this text. So that's 1922. Now 1923. W572 strip card. And this is George Burns. And once again, they were issued in long strips and cut by hand. Another 1923 572. Bob Musell. Musell, I guess. Musell. And the last one I have, Ralph Pinelli. This one's a little cut shorter, cut tighter than the rest. And you can see from the very first one, nice large borders. Whereas this person cut them with tight borders. And then 1926. This is a W512. And this is Dave Bancroft. Now this is getting to be a little bit of that cartoonish, generic type card. And of course, blank back. And then the final card I have from the 1920s is a 1928 Ewing's Ice Cream Pie Trainer. That's the same Ewing's, that's a beer company. They started out as a beer company, and during the Prohibition, they switched to making ice cream just to stay in business. And then as soon as the Prohibition ended, they went back to beer. That's Pie Trainer. And the back of it, it says if you save these pictures, you can, and for each picture of Babe Ruth, you can get a gallon of Yulin's ice cream. So Pie Trainer 1928. So those are my 1928 cards. I only have a handful, and I am looking to get more in the future. It's really, like I said, the forgotten decade of baseball card collecting. So I hope all of you have a great weekend, and thank you very much. Bye.